What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Homie Hangout, where we help others move in excellence. I apologize for the atmosphere. I'm sitting in the car waiting for my kids to get out of an activity right now, and that's kind of the point of this post, right? For those who don't know, I'm 45 now. At 19, I caught a case for attempted murder. I shot somebody in the neck, and I went to prison for it, and that's considered a serious and violent felony, right? It was a strike. And so the reason I say that is obviously not to glorify it. I would encourage you to not repeat my behavior. But that case at 19 years old, when I had no children, I was a kid, impacts me to this day, and it impacts my capacity to be a father. And so what I mean is the school district does a background check. So when there's a chance to chaperone a kid for a field trip, or sit in on the classroom and help the teacher grade papers and observe your child, coach or help coach a after school team, I'm unable to do that stuff. And that hasn't always been the case. I was fortunate for a minute at a school where I was able to chaperone my kids. And then that school changed their policy because there was somebody who had unmentionable offenses against, children, who had gained access to the school and access to the students, and that came out. And so then they tightened their background check stuff, right? Sorry. And so that cut me out. Same thing with sports. My kids have always been in sports. They've done swimming, they've done basketball, they've done t-ball, they're doing karate right now, right? And there was 1 year that I was able to coach my oldest daughter and my second oldest, right, my other daughter, in t-ball. Now Jasmine wasn't really into it, she just got the uniform. Kayla was kind of into it, and that was only because when we went to the community meeting, they didn't have enough coaches. And so the person running the league was like, look, we need another coach or two coaches actually, or these kids aren't going to be able to play. So is there any parent here willing to coach? And I said, sure, me. Now, mind you, I had been denied the ability to coach t-ball prior to this. And so the guy running it was like, man, cool, and just signed me up. And so I was able to coach my daughter for a year. It was great, man. There was a t-ball day over at Pac-Bell Park for the Giants. I'm a Giants fan. I'm a San Francisco native, and so I got to go with my daughter there. Our team was called the Red Sox, so it was kind of awkward, right? But so those are some of the things, when we talk about people coming home, and when we talk about people getting out of prison, and in particular parents, right, fathers and mothers, this felony record can last. I've gone to jobs, and when I first came home, I would go to get jobs, and I literally heard from a couple jobs, well, you've gone to prison for attempted murder. If I hired you, how do I know you're not going to try to kill somebody at work that you have a disagreement with? The implication being I'm just a hothead that runs around and tries to kill people that don't agree with me, which was not the case in the instance that I got caught up for. But it's one of those cases that the more you try to explain it, the worse it sounds to somebody that has no connection to the culture or the neighborhood or the lifestyle or whatever. Like, nah, man, we was gang members and this and that. And they're like, oh, now you're a gang member. And so, that stuck with me then. But now I've been home 16 years, as I've said frequently. It's something that I'm very proud of. And I can apply for jobs now, and most of the time it doesn't come up. My background doesn't come up because it's too long ago. And I'm in California, which has its own laws and its own rules. But I've applied for jobs, and my background check is clear. But with schools, their background check's a little different. And it was actually funny, not in a ha-ha way, but interesting. I was doing classes at Menlo Atherton High School, which is in Atherton, but the students there, a chunk of those students come from East Palo Alto and Eastern Menlo Park. I was living in EPA at the time. I was doing a lot of community work. And so that was one of the schools where I did a class, not as a part of the technical curriculum, but I worked with the quote unquote gang members and knuckleheads that they had there from the town. And I'll do a video on that at some point, man, because it's ridiculous. Like, I walked in with an I Love EPA shirt one day, and they told me I had to change my shirt because it was gang related. And, that was weird. But the point is, I was cleared to do work there. And then I started critiquing the administration, right? And I started challenging the administration on some of their policies, on some of the classes that they were putting students in, on how they segregated the yard, right? The school playground. It was like a prison yard where every little clique had their own little spot. And so as I started to critique the administration, they said, well, we need to update your background check. And that background check was equivalent to if I have access to young people at the school off of school grounds for school activities with no school administrators present. Now, I never did anything like that. But that background check, I failed, right? And so schools have their own way, which they should. They should make sure that people who prey on children are not there, that people that have done unmentionable stuff are not there. And I can understand a time frame of, you just got out, right? You just got out for a hot one. You just got out for this. And so we're going to need to see if you can maintain in society and be disciplined and not engage in this activity before we give you a shot. I'm okay with that, right? I'm on board with that. I don't mind the accountability. But you're talking about 1996 that I caught this case. It's 2022. I haven't caught a violent case since. Right? I haven't gone back to jail since. I haven't sat in a county jail cell or a prison cell since I paroled in 2005. And that was based on a case that I caught again in 96. So I was 19 years old. I'm 45 now. And I'm barred from a lot of school activities. And even the activities here where it's not school related, but I can't go. I can't, karate, I probably wouldn't be a lot of help anyways, but my son's in basketball and I play a little basketball, right? I can't participate because I'm a violent felon, right? And they don't say violent felon. So I don't know exactly what the bar is, but whatever the standard is, I fall below it. And so that's just stuff to keep in mind, man. It's a quick video, right? I'm just waiting for my kids to get out. But something to keep in mind as you're making choices in your day-to-day life. Some of these consequences, cool, you can sit down and do the time. Okay, fine, right? I don't want to do time, so I try not to put myself in positions to do that. But if you're okay with doing time, that's fine. Do you, and go do your time. But this tale lasts longer than that. And in particular, as a father, man, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because my kids know that I can't do stuff with them because I shot somebody. Now, my kids weren't even thought of before I went to prison, right? My oldest was born, I want to say about 2 years after I came home. And so they have no real, no actual memory of me engaging in that lifestyle, but they're forced to deal with the consequences of it, right? And I was reminded of this the other day because my oldest, Kayla, she has some function at her school where you could bring your parent to lunch, right? And it's a joke how they put it because actually the parent comes and the parent can bring food. So it's more like the parent come and hook the kids up for lunch. But I was fine with that, right? And And last week was the week that she was with her mom, and so she had the option Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to have a parent come. And Monday she kept it hush, and Wednesday she kept it hush. Friday's the day that I get them anyways. And she was like, "Hey, Dad, guess what?" And so I brought McDonald's, man. I got a picture up on my Instagram. It's under the same name as the channel, right? The Homie Hangout. But I loved it, and I welcomed that. And I got to go just sit because there was no background check. They weren't checking who was coming in. So I got to sit outside in her little school courtyard area, and we ate our little McDonald's, and we talked, and I met the mom of like her BFF, and that lady and her husband have a restaurant, you know. So a lot of networking happens when you have kids and your kids go to school, and especially when you keep them in the same district for a while, which has been very important to me. You want to make connections with other parents, right? Cause your kids hit it off, and so now they're going to parties with one another, and all that stuff could end up being beneficial in some way, right? If you need childcare on short notice, right? Hey man, can my daughter go over there? Or they need a ride, or they need help, right? And hey, can my kid come hang out at your place, man? Sure. But that stuff tends to happen at school activities, and I can't participate. I can observe, and I do. I'm an active father when it comes to my kids. I show up to everything that I can, and so yeah, it sucks, and I don't exactly know how to do something about it. I know a lot of times people look to me and they say, "Hey, how do we fight for this?" or "What is this law?" or "How do we challenge that?" And I appreciate that, and I do my best to try to engage with you guys and help you. I don't know what this struggle looks like. I don't know what this fight looks like, but fathers and mothers too, although I'm not as familiar with what that struggle looks like, to be honest, but I'd imagine it's similar. Us fathers, man, a lot of us are desperate to be a part of our kids' lives, whether we're with their mom or not. This was true when I was married, and this is true since I've been co-parenting with their mom. And they miss out. It hurts the kids, and it hurts as an adult, right? Because I want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that is able to help coach my kids' teams and do this. And when I coached T-ball, it was amazing. I loved it. And so I'm curious, man, have you guys had similar experiences? I'm curious about the states, that you guys live in. And I know some folks live in other countries even. What are those policies like there, right? Are you hindered from participating in activities with your kids, or is that a non-factor? Because here in California, man, it's an obstacle. And again, it didn't used to be for me. But once again, it's kind of like the Cain Velasquez thing a lot of people are talking about. Those types of people, the type of people he targeted, right? Those types of people, they mess stuff up for a lot of us. And that's true for people like me, man. Or am I crazy? Is this just, I gotta bite the bullet, right? And part of the consequence of my actions is this. And if that's the case, okay, fine, but let that serve as a warning to some of you guys and a lesson to some of you guys, man. The layers of how these felony records, in particular violent felonies, can impact you are serious, man. And our kids hurt from that, and our kids have to pay for that. And at the end of the day, I'm responsible for shooting a dude, right? So I can complain about the law, and I don't like the law, but the reality is I saw him, I chose to shoot him, and so whatever comes from that, I probably shouldn't be in a position to complain too much, because I did it. But this is just one where it bothers me because it impacts them. So anyways, a little, different topic, and obviously a different environment. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Be a homie, man. Help others move in excellence. That's what homies do. Help yourself at the same time because you're worth it, right? And I'll catch you on the next one tomorrow. Stay blessed.